Hello, I'm Rajinder Hans. This is Prime News on tvsarawak.com. Let's take a look at the headlines. 3 awards for Sarawak Civil Service. Good leadership plays an important role in ensuring quality education for students. The Department of Environment is serious in its efforts to ensure the environment is not polluted. The Sarawak Civil Service recently received 3 awards in recognition of its transformation efforts. State Secretary Dato' Amar Muhammad Morshidi Abdul Ghani handed over the awards to Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Adnan Satim during a brief ceremony at Wisma Bapa Malaysia in Petrajaya. The SCS 10-20 Action Plan received recognition from Future Government, the largest network of government-to-government events in Asia-Pacific, in the digital inclusion category. The award acknowledges the region's most outstanding initiatives in the bridging the digital divide through the innovative use of technology. The Future Government Award is the biggest celebration of public sector excellence in Asia-Pacific, in which 50 top governments, education and healthcare agencies are recognized for their service levels, productivity, governance and use of technology. The Chief Minister's Department also received a 5-star award from the Chief Secretary to the government. Tan Sri Dr. Ali Hamza, in conjunction with the Public Sector Innovation Awards 2014 in One City, Subang Jaya. The state government, through its feedback management system, Talik Khidmat, also won the Excellent Management Complaints Award 2013, presented by Minister in Prime Minister's Department, Dato' Paul Loh Seng Kwan. The transformation efforts of the Sarawak government towards people-oriented service delivery excellence have been recognised both at national and international level. SCS started its transformation journey in 2010 with a vision to be a world-class civil service and a mission to provide excellent service delivery through high-performance teamwork. Minister of Welfare, Women and Family Development, Dato' Fatimah Abdullah said that good leadership plays an important role in ensuring quality education for students because quality education depends on professionalism of principals or headmasters, including teachers. She added a student's performance could only be improved through quality and ethical management practices as well as making learning a lifelong culture. Dato' Fatimah said, leadership in education also meant making constructive social change by identifying weaknesses and taking strategic approaches to tackle issues and problems. She was speaking at the closing ceremony of Borneo Education Leadership Dialogue held at the State Education Department. A total of 250 people, comprising principals, headmasters and academicians from Sarawak, Sabah and Labuan took part in the dialogue held by Institute Aminuddin Baki, Cawangan, Sarawak. The Department of Environment is serious in its efforts to ensure that factories abide by the designated standard operating procedures to ensure that the environment is not polluted. JAS Director General Dato' Halimah Hassan stressed that actions, including compounds, notices, court actions and restraining orders would be taken against factories which do not comply with the SOP based on the severity of offences. She noted that of the overall sources of pollution, around 296 premises are subjected to regulations related to clean air, and thus Dato' Halimah pointed out that to ensure that the environmental quality is maintained, the environmental quality regulations had been gazetted on June 5th this year to replace the previous regulations which had been enforced since 1978. The regulations comprised of all monitoring aspects and compliance that should be adhered by each industry. Moving on to Malaysian news. Another government initiative, One Dana Portal, is launched by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak to make it easier for the people and companies to know of the assistance being provided for research, development and commercialization. The one-stop portal also enables the people to see all the grants and sponsorships for research and development as well as commercialization that are offered by government ministries and agencies. Speaking at the launch, Datuk Seri Najib said the portal could provide an overall picture on a ministry or agency that needed to be referred to for loans. The One Dana portal also has a dashboard that monitors and detects the fund performance that is released for the national main key performance indicators and selected KPI projects. Datuk Seri Najib said within a 2-year period, the government had allocated 2.3 billion ringgit for R&D. Starting June next year, the purchase of RON 95 petrol for those in high-income bracket will be according to market prices, said Deputy Finance Minister Dato' Ahmad Maslan. He said the mechanism and methods of implementation were being finalised by the Finance Ministry and Domestic Trade, Cooperatives and Consumerism Ministry either through the use of MyCard or other cards. He said those in the low and middle income groups would continue to enjoy RON 95 at subsidised prices. At present, the price of RON 95 is RM2.30 per litre. Malaysia needed additional experts to manage data that is more systematic and orderly, as data can become new sources of wealth for the country, said Communication and Multimedia Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Shabri Cheek after the 26th MSC Malaysia Implementation Council meeting. He said possessing a variety of data and an orderly data management could be an edge for a particular country. At the meeting, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak announced that the government was considering to appoint a chief data scientist soon. The government will also provide scholarships to enable more people in the country to be trained as data scientists. Datuk Seri Ahmad Shabri said at present not all data pertaining to the government was secret, as some could be informed to the public. Moving on to the global front, the Islamic State has become the world's wealthiest terror group, earning tens of millions of dollars a month from illegal oil sales and ransoms, officials said. The group is now considered the world's wealthiest and most financially sophisticated terrorist organization, said Marwan Muashir, Vice President at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Under Secretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, David Cohen said the group's primary funding tactics enable it today to generate tens of millions of dollars per month. Oil sales alone from captured refineries are allowing the militants to produce some 50,000 barrels a day from fields in Syria and Iraq, representing a daily income of about $1 million. Cohen said IS was selling the oil at substantially discounted prices to a variety of middlemen, including some from Turkey, who then transported the oil to be resold. Oil has also been sold to Kurds in Iraq and then resold to Turkey, as it has tapped into a long-standing and deeply rooted black market connecting traders in and around the area. It has also generated about $20 million through kidnappings, particularly of journalists and European hostages. And it demands money from local businesses in cities and towns, which it has captured through a sophisticated extortion racket. US airstrikes were having an effect on hindering the militants' ability to produce oil, and US sanctions would target those found buying illegal oil, Cohen said. China's communist rulers declared on Thursday that the country would embrace the rule of law with Chinese characteristics, official media reported after a key party meeting touted as heralding legal reform. More than 360 full and reserve members of the party's Central Committee gathered in Beijing this week for the highly anticipated meeting known as the Fourth Plenum. China's ruling party had cast the conclave as a pivotal moment for reform of the country's legal system and announced in July that the theme of the meeting would be rule of law. But experts caution that in China, the phrase refers to a greater centralization of control by the ruling party rather than a separation of powers. I had predicted the meeting would tighten the authorities' grip. The communique issued at the gathering's close described the party's intent as a legal system serving the socialist rule of law with Chinese characteristics. China will ensure the Communist Party's leadership is achieving the goal, it added, saying the meeting had set a blueprint for rule of law in the world's second largest economy. Japan's top court on Thursday said employers cannot discriminate against pregnant women by demoting them or denying requests for lighter work in a key test case as Tokyo tries to boost the profile of working females. The ruling from the Supreme Court, its first on a practice known as maternity harassment, will likely be embraced by Japanese mothers who say they hit a glass ceiling at work once they become pregnant. The five-judge panel added that even if a worker accepts a demotion owing to pregnancy, they need to make the decision after receiving a proper explanation from the employer and understand the consequences thoroughly. The case stems from an unnamed hospital physiotherapist who had asked to be moved to a section with a less strenuous workload after she became pregnant. She agreed to move into a position with lower seniority as part of the move, but she was kept at the lower post after she returned from maternity leave, which she said was not part of the agreement with the employer. Lower courts had ruled against the woman, noting she had accepted the demotion willingly. The top court's ruling on Thursday means that the lower panel will have to look at the issue again and reconsider its decision. The ruling comes amid growing calls at home and abroad for Japan to make better use of its highly educated but underemployed women as a rapidly aging population strains the public purse. But the task is a daunting one in a country where sexist attitudes are still prevalent and men dominate politics and business. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has made raising the profile of women in the workforce a key part of his wider bid to revive the world's number 3 economy, dubbed Abenomics. One of the first Apple computers ever built sold in New York on Wednesday for $905,000. Leading Bonham's auction house to declare it the world's most expensive computer relic. The Apple I computer, built by hand in 1976 by Steve Wozniak in Apple co-founder Steve Jobs' garage or his sister's bedroom, fetched nearly twice its pre-sale high estimate, Bonham said. It was bought by the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, the auction house said. Cassandra Hatton, a senior specialist in charge of Wednesday History of Science sale, said that the computer was in outstanding condition. The computer came with an intact motherboard, vintage keyboard, Sanyo monitor, a custom power supply in wooden box, and 2 vintage tape decks. The Apple I is considered a vanguard of the personal computer revolution, being the first pre-assembled personal computer ever sold. Laos is building a series of hydropower dams as it wants to transform the country into the battery of Southeast Asia. But this ambition has drawn criticism from its neighbours due to concerns over the impact on fishing communities and the environment. Hydropower is a major export for Laos. 2/3 of electricity generated in the country is sold to its neighbours, mainly to Thailand. There are plans for a massive expansion of the country's hydropower capacity over the next 15 years, from the current 3,200 megawatts to 12,000 megawatts. The surge will come from the building of more than 30 new dams from now till 2020. 12 of these will be on the Mekong River. Though construction for the dam has yet to start, observers say the planned 260 megawatt hydropower dam could significantly alter the fish migration pattern in Cambodia's Tonle Sap Lake. Aware of this criticism, the Lao government says it is willing to make adjustments to their dams, but it insists that it will push ahead with the building of all the dams as planned. That wraps up the news for today. I'm Rajinder Hans. Thank you for watching.